So I had a weird dream that I don't even want to be talking about, but it happened. So, for the purpose of documenting my dreams, gotta say it. So I was hanging out with a bunch of people. There were males and females, a lot of them from my high school. And, even some of my close friends were there. I don't know exactly where it took place. It was kind of like an outer universe thing. It definitely wasn't Earth. It was very rocky and like black, and there were a lot of colors, but everybody was drawn to something. It was like a light or some event that was happening, but nobody was really excited, nobody was upset. It was just everybody had a straight face. It was really weird. And then the next thing that happened is like people, while they're taking in this event, they just kind of passed this thing around the room, and it's I don't even know what you call it, because it's something that doesn't even exist, or if it does, I just don't know about it. But they pass around this like spongy device or something that they just put in their mouth, and they put it in until they gag, and then they pull it out. Kind of like a dildo. I don't know what it was. I can't even draw it out in my head. But it was just some elongated thing. So everyone was passing around the room, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, why would I want to make myself gag? And like, people did it like it was smoking or something, they didn't even, there was no thought behind it. They just did it, and there's like, they gag, and they pass it on. So eventually, I'm just watching it go around, and it comes to me, and I'm like, shit, like, what did I do? And I just said, no thanks. And you know what? Nobody cared. Nobody cared. It just passed me, and it kept going. And I said, alright. And so, I don't know if it was days or if it was weeks. I don't even know if there was a time, if time even existed in this dimension or in this universe. So, same thing was happening. The group was smaller. We were all still watching this, something. And, same thing. This thing is being passed around the room again. And this time there are two. And, I recall a lot of faces. There were a lot of recognizable faces. Mainly from my high school. And, it was, not gonna lie, kind of gay. Like, passing around this dildo-like thing that you stick in your mouth and until you gag. So came back to me, and I'm just like, no. And they're like, yo man, what the fuck, yo, hey. Like the first time no one said anything, right? And now this time they're like, hey man, what's up? And I said, no, I'm okay. And not knowing what this really did, right? Like, it was just something that everyone was doing, and I passed on it again, and they called me out. And so I said, yeah, no. And I guess nothing really happened. They just like, yo, what the fuck? Why aren't you doing that? And I'm like, no. I didn't have a reason. I just said no. I'm like, no, it's all right, thanks. And it went on, and after that they just kind of turned away, went back to doing what we were doing, like looking at something. And that was that. And then everyone was still watching this thing, and I'm like, what is so fascinating, or what why are they passing around this thing and doing what they're doing? So eventually I kind of got curious, and then it came back around to me again. And at this point there were fewer and fewer people. And so I decided to put it in my mouth. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. It was very like, how do I describe it? Like spongy and rubbery feeling. And I put it to the back of my mouth, and until I gagged, and I did. And then I passed it on, and it didn't really taste like anything. From what I recall, it didn't taste like anything. And that was that. So I was like, what is up with these people? Like, why are they doing it? It's not like it feels good. It's not like it tastes like anything. Like, what the hell is going on? And then the dream kind of, time travel. Like, first of all, time didn't really exist, but I traveled. Like, after that happened, it took me to, in this dream, like, I seem to recall that, but like the little tiny minute details, I freaking have no idea. But I do remember that. And then I remember this part, which is like, I was walking down these, kind of like, you can imagine it as like blocks, like I'm walking down blocks, but it's full of black rock, It was very matte black. It wasn't shiny. There was no glossiness. It's all matte. And like, it's really, really, like the air was contaminated. A lot of particles flying around, and like debris, fog. Yeah, I don't know where it was, but I was walking down this block, and there were patrollers. There's like these guards or whatever with huge, gigantic, like mech suits, almost out of like a sci-fi movie. These mech suit guys just patrolling. They don't really say anything, but you can see that they're there because they have this red light, like I don't know if it's out of their eyes, but they just emit this red light, so that it's them on top of their head or somewhere around their head. And I mean, they are some form of humanoid. Like, they had limbs, 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head, and they walked around. And so, I'm just like rushing back to my place of stay. I don't know if it was my home. I think it was my home. So I ran back, and actually my girlfriend was in this dream. And, I got back, and when I got inside, she was with her brother, her younger brother. And so they spent the day, or I don't even know if I can call it a day, but they spent their time watching movies, watching like a cartoon or like Totoro or something like that. And I guess I came home from work or school or something, but I came home with a 3D freaking arm, like a 3D mech arm that had like a blaster on it, and it was not functioning. Like, it was just it's like a model, or a 3D printed sculpture. It was like made out of plasticine or some sort of plastic, some synthetic material. It wasn't metal though. So I don't even know where I, pulled it out from, because during the time that I was walking home, I definitely wasn't carrying this. But maybe like I was watching the guards because I knew that I had something that maybe I shouldn't have. I don't know. But it definitely looked like a guard's arm. Like it was a mech arm that was made out of plastic. Like almost like the plastic they use for 3D printing, the filament or whatever. It was like that, kind of like it's unfinished, kind of a raw, like compound or something like that. So I had this, and they're like, "Oh my God, why do you have this?" Well, her brother was reacting like that, but my girlfriend, she was like, "Whoa, this is amazing," and she started like to touch it and to hold it and stuff like that, and put her arm in it, and I'm like, "Yeah," and I was proud of it, almost like I made it, maybe this is what I was going to school for, maybe this is what I was doing at work, or anyway, it felt like I created. And there was a problem with it, because when I put my arm in it, there was an area, I think, where I had to hold it that was a little too small. Like it wasn't comfortable in my hand. So I'm like, I was kind of disappointed, and I'm like, I need to revise it, or I need to remake it, or something like that. And and then it became kind of it became more clear to me why I was making this. And those mech robots that I saw were actually not guards. For me to get out of this place, and for me to I guess take my family, or my girlfriend and her brother, out of where we were, we needed a disguise. We needed these suits to look like the guards or these other beings. We needed to, I guess, basically camouflage ourselves to get out of this ashy hole that we lived in, back into, society, or maybe it was like the end of the world or something like that. The earth has already collapsed or, has already died, and we're in this limbo stage where, we're held captive for some reason, or we're in a different, I guess we've already traveled to Earth's alternative, and either we're waiting for something better to happen, or either we're captured, and I needed these suits. And where I was going, still not sure. Like, every day I would go somewhere. So, maybe it was school. Maybe I was, being educated. Maybe they still had professions. Maybe they still had work for people to do. And what I was doing, I definitely don't remember being paid or anything. But maybe I was going to school. Maybe I was learning how to make these suits for people. And, I was just trying to make these suits for the people that I cared about, to get ourselves, to get ourselves outside of, this little hole. And then I woke up, and I thought, well, the first part of my dream was just completely messed up. Like, that was weird, but a lot of people that I knew were in there. The second part was like kind of survival, and it was interesting. Weird for the first part, but that's what I dreamt about. Anyway, that's my dream for today. See you later.